Sincerity and honesty, trick them every time. I said, well, sincere and honesty, I never tried that. Sincerity and honesty, trick them every time.
Well, first of all, the cult phenomenon is a group phenomenon by which individuals are focused towards a feeling of belongingness and meaningfulness.
Dr. Michael Persinger is a neuroanatomist at Laurentian University in Ontario, Canada. He believes that the human brain has a weakness in the temporal lobe, the region responsible for making decisions. This weakness makes us all vulnerable to the influence of another.
Brain activity, effectively, is a combination of electromagnetic patterns and chemical interactions.
Persinger believes that by sending an electromagnetic field through a subject's temporal lobe, he can create a micro-seizure in the brain. This seizure can recreate the feeling of a religious experience or a feeling of belonging.
We basically imitate what happens within the brain itself during a mystical experience.
As the magnetic field is sent through a participant's brain, Dr. Persinger sees a significant change in brain activity. The subject may experience what can be referred to as a higher state of consciousness.
When you stimulate it excessively, the individuals feel transformed. They feel as if they're a new person, they're born again. They may feel this amount of social cohesion, that they belong to a new group, a new identity.
Results from the study suggest that moments of group conviction and belonging are simply manifestations of an overstimulated temporal lobe, that cult devotion might just be a symptom of micro-seizures in the brain, and that perhaps people with an overactive temporal lobe are more vulnerable to manipulation. But once a cult member feels the euphoria of belonging, how can a cult leader capitalize? How do you convince a rational person to throw away their moral values? Dr. Persinger continues his research into the cult mind by looking at how a leader's speech patterns can influence the thoughts of others. Persinger suggests that there is another flaw in the human brain that may also make us susceptible: trust. He claims that in the first instant we hear any statement, our brain accepts it as true. It is in the following moments when the brain reviews the statement and ultimately chooses whether it is true or false. This is called the refutation process.
When you pursue truth or falsehood, you must accept everything first as truth, and then you must refute it. If something interferes with that refutation process, you're more likely to take a falsehood and accept it as true.
How vulnerable is an individual's free will?
Sincerity and honesty, trick them every time. I said, well, sincere and honesty, I never tried that.
Start an argument, start a statement, produce a tremendous distraction, something that's totally off the wall, so the person does not have a chance to refute it, and they're likely to take that falsehood and accept it as a truth. And as I understand from the descriptions of Manson, that was notorious for his particular profile.
Narcissists are fine as long as you praise them or treat them nicely, but as soon as you insult them or criticize them in any way, they become very defensive and very aggressive.
Dr. Brad Bushman, a senior research professor at the University of Michigan, studies the causes and consequences of human aggression.
The sense of entitlement can be dangerous when you think you're better than other people.
To test his theory, Bushman conducted an experiment to find out how narcissists react when they are insulted. Narcissists consistently selected excessively high noise levels, in contrast to the control group.
We'll look at the whole range of scores. The results of our study show that when narcissists get a good grade, they're not very aggressive. But when they get a bad grade, they set louder and longer noise blasts. Narcissistic people believe they're more deserving, they're entitled to special treatment. When they suffer a blow to their ego, when they're criticized or humiliated, they become very defensive, become very angry, and are likely to lash out and behave aggressively to others.
Did he think of himself as godlike in some way, or a special being
He never had to say so. He was real good at letting you come to that conclusion. He was really good into subliminal messages, talking about one thing and slipping in another. He must be Christ, he must be Christ, he must be Christ.
Yeah.
Mostly, I thought he was a prophet. I thought that he heard from God, and God spoke through him. That's what I thought.
They believed him.
He was not teaching that we're going to go and kill people. He was teaching survival. It's a blueprint for every cult that's ever been. Your leader is the only one that has the in with God and knows what's going to go on, and if you don't follow, then you're not going to survive it.